What is up, YouTube? It's Kingfisher745, and I welcome you back to our look into the past. That's right, once again we're combining the old with the new by taking a look back at a past podcast segment and combining it with all new video footage. For current podcast segments, you can check out thehelicarrier.com and blogtalkradio.com/FromTheHelicarrier. For today's video, we have another special team that at the time was pretty revolutionary. I had never heard anyone mention what's going to be discussed on the segment. Well, at least not until I tipped people off, but part of that was because Pestilence Beast was relatively new. The funny thing is, still to this day, there's not many counters to Paradise Lost. This remains one of the coolest ways to reverse those debuffs. And that not only applies to the enemy team using Pestilence Beast, but also, like we're about to show, it can work out for your team as well. This at one time revolutionary method involves using Scarlet Witch and her Chaos Shield. This buff says the next attack will restore health instead of causing damage, and many harmful status effects become replaced by their opposite. This will work even if Beast is on the battlefield. However, it does have a chance to fail. Because of that, you'll want to farm the Statistical in Paradise 08. You can find that one in Season 2, Chapter 2, Mission 6. Now this team unfortunately didn't catch on that much, but it still is one of the coolest ways to turn those debuffs around so that they actually benefit you. And it also remains as one of the few ways to deal with Paradise Lost. At this point I've already said too much. I should leave some explaining for the actual segment. So let's go ahead and get into the original audio.
What is going on, everybody? It's Kingfisher745, and this is the All Hail the King segment only on the From the Helicarrier podcast. So recently we had a brand new special operations appear, and with this came the Horseman alternate costumes. In my opinion, they're definitely all worth checking out, but there's one standout, at least in the way of potentially changing the game. I like to call him the meta breaker. That's Beast, the Horseman of Pestilence. Now if you don't know what makes Beast so special, it is the fact that he has updated abilities, including new passives. They're all a nice added bonus, but his Pestilence passive, in particular, Paradise Lost, is the best of the bunch. Paradise Lost suppresses most effects that prevent or remove debuffs from both allies and enemies. Now when I first saw this, I right away thought of Mystic Shroud and the Scroll of Uncle Bob, and it soon became clear that that's exactly what this ability stops. So what exactly has this done? Well, for me, the reason that I'm overjoyed by it is the fact that so many teams and characters and weapons are now viable. What Beast represents is an almost endless amount of possibilities. There are so many items that have been dusted off and new teams to come up with. For too long, only several top tier characters dominated in PvP. And that's why I want to thank Playdom not only for these costumes, but also for the whole Spec Ops. Everything from the storyline to the strike teams. But I do make this one plea. Please don't nerf Paradise Lost. At least let's see what happens in this coming PvP tournament. I think it has a possibility to inject so much strategy into the game. And with all that being said, there are some really amazing team-ups that have already been circulating. One of which involves Beast and Satana. Because of Satana's Dark Pact, you actually gain benefits from certain debuffs. And then Beast's passive, Faustian Bargain, allows you to place those debuffs when you attack. Now that's certainly one amazing way to take advantage of Beast. As the Horseman of Pestilence, he pretty much loves debuffs on everyone, both friend and foe. It only makes sense that Pestilence would want to spread disease, and in essence, he loves chaos. And that brings us to our special team-up, the Horseman of Pestilence and Scarlet Witch. First and foremost, Scarlet Witch does have some amazing debuffs, such as Hexed, and then she also has a probability field. So being able to place these debuffs on your enemies, and them not being able to remove them, is already a great benefit. But the truly special part of this team-up relies on her level 6 ability, Chaos Shield. Chaos Shield goes on all your allies, and it says the next attack will restore health instead of causing damage. But the second part is really key. It says many harmful status effects become replaced by their opposite. I can tell you from plenty of experience, this is one of the only abilities that can somewhat counteract Paradise Lost. It does this by reversing many of the harmful status effects, so many of the debuffs. So basically you'll be putting debuffs on everyone, and then when the time is right, you cast Chaos Shield and reverse them on your team. Many really nasty debuffs like Poison and Chilled become Resist Poison or Resist Chilled. Weakened, Slowed, Dizzy, and Exposed become Strengthened, Agile, Focused, and Fortified. And if you've used Beast, you'll notice that ISO 8 Contagion Outbreak will have many of those debuffs. So with Scarlet Witch and that Chaos Shield, it actually becomes beneficial to have that Outbreak on your own characters. So either way, if it breaks on your opponent, that's fantastic. But if the Outbreak comes back on you, then you can use the Chaos Shield to reverse most of the effects. This instantly provides you with so many buffs. It truly is a fantastic team up. But I do have to recommend that you get one special empowered ISO 8. Scarlet Witch's character-specific ISO 8, statistical empowered ISO 8, grants controlled chaos. Chaos Shield never misses, and never fails. You will definitely want to farm this item, and it can be found in Season 2, Chapter 2, Mission 6. Without this, her level 6 will fail quite often, so you're going to need this empowered ISO 8. And it's from this ability, Controlled Chaos, that this team gets its name, Controlled Pestilence. It's one of the few and most effective ways to control Beast. And that's it for today's segment. Now back to the hosts.